Interesting, huh? Good point. Well, a guy who pitches from the windup more than the stretch this year, because a lot of guys haven't been getting on against him, is Al Leiter. That's not Al Leiter right there, halfway between the mound and home plate, but that's Al, and the left-hander with the second best earned run average in the National League. He has just been terrific this year. Al Leiter going for the Mets.
Okay, and today's Devil Ray lineup is brought to you by your Jeep and Eagle dealers. As you can see, Randy Wynn leads off in right field. Aaron Ledesma in second base, former Met. Quentin McCracken, center fielder. Third, Paul Sorrento, at first base. Bobby Smith at third. Mike Kelly in left. Behind the plate is Mike DeFelice. Kevin Stocker is at shortstop, the former Philly. And on the mound, Rick White.
And the defense for the New York Mets, Bart Gilkey in left, Rich Becker in center field, and Butch Husky in right. Alfonso at third, Ordonez at short, Baerga at second, Ortelrud at first, and Piazza the catcher. And the umpires for this game, Bruce Fleming behind home plate, Eric Gregg is at first base, Larry Vanover, the umpire, at second, and Mark Hirschbeck, the umpire, at third.
A constant learning process. Masato Yoshi, Bob Apodaca seated, and Hideo Nomo, and I would imagine Yoshi would take over as the translator during the game.
Well, I would think it's important too, Tim, that, how would you want to be playing in a foreign country and not have a fellow countryman and you don't speak the language? I think it's a great acquisition for the two of them. They're best friends, and it gives a companion for him now.
Well, the one thing that has helped Yoshi is that New York City is not a real highly pressured, intense town in which to play, right?
Yes.
Yeah, small town America. Yoshi has done terrifically this year. As you take a look at Larry Rothschild, obviously the first-year manager of the expansion Devil Rays, and Larry Rothschild with 2 World Series rings to his credit. One as the pitching coach for the Florida Marlins last year, and you may remember that Larry Rothschild was a pitching coach for Lou Piniella and the wire-to-wire Cincinnati Reds back in 1990. So Al Leiter on the mound, and the first batter, Randy Wynn, the right fielder for the Devil Rays. Wynn batting .348 in limited appearances, only been up 48 times, and he takes a fastball outside, one of the few outside fastballs you may see Leiter feature against right-handers.
Well, Al's definitely got the hard slider that breaks down and in on the hands of right-hand hitters. Throws his fastball away, much like Carlton. Carlton, when he spotted his fastball, he spotted it away from right-hand hitters, but he was predominantly inside with his slider and got into a lot of bats.
As Al Leiter will do too, Ralph.
Yeah, he breaks more bats than any pitcher I've seen for the Mets since John Matlack.
And that one high, so it's 3 balls and no strikes to Randy Wynn. Ball 4. So 4 straight balls puts Wynn on at first base. And that'll bring up the former New York Met who signed with the Mets back in 1990, Aaron Ledesma. What a great baseball name, or any name for that matter. Aaron Ledesma. Sounds like a heroic figure out of an Anne Rice novel, doesn't it?
Sounds like Rudolph Valentino.
Yeah. Yes. Leonardo DiCaprio these days. Fastball misses downstairs. 5 straight balls now thrown by Leiter. Mets winning the first game of this World Series 9-2, and then they won yesterday, or the Devil Rays won last night 5-4 in 11 innings.
Some great names like Jake Stryker.
There's a strike, 1-1.
Herb Score.
Yes.
Early win. One and 1 to Ledesma. Just underway here at Shea. Grounded third side. And that ball gets by Ordonez. A lot of topspin. So the first hit of the ball game, and the Devil Rays with runners on at first and second and nobody out.
It looks like that Ray was playing way up the middle here, and that's a rare ball that gets through the hole. So the book on him must be he's an opposite field hitter, because this ball's not that much in the hole, and with Ray's range to either side, if he had to be playing extremely up the middle.
Probably cheating for the double play, but I would think with a right-hander up there and Leiter throwing more fastballs inside, you got to play him in the hole, or at least shade toward the hole.
When he played for the Mets a short time, he was certainly a right field hitter.
Well, Ledesma with the only hit in the ball game. Here's Quentin McCracken. Showed bunt. He takes a fastball high. McCracken off with a torrid start, .319 on the year with 5 home runs.
27 ball hit games. That's second in the major leagues. He's a good ball player.
There's the best pitch in the arsenal of Al Leiter. 1-1 to McCracken.
That's his best pitch so far in the game, too. The slider down and in, starting it around the belt and then breaking down late and getting the knee high, getting under the bat. A little flatter than Carlton's. Carlton's was more like a 10. I know it was a slider, but to me it was like a big curveball.
Hard curve.
But it just dropped.
Well, it had such tight spin. That's the thing about Leiter. His is more a cutter, and that was it again. The difference between a cutter and a slider is that a cutter gets in on you a little quicker because you can't see the spin of it. You can't pick the spin up.
Fastball on the belt there.
At cutter, you put the pressure on the middle finger, and you actually cut through the ball, and that's why the ball has a tendency to sail in on the right-handers. That was it again, and McCracken stays alive. A ball and 2 strikes to Quentin McCracken here in the first inning.
Well, Leiter right now so far, Tim, he's been up in the strike zone a lot, but predominantly. He's a couple pitches he's got down, but he's been up. He walked the first batter on 4 pitches that were up in the zone. So he's out there trying to get his rhythm.
Nice play, Piazza. 2-2. That was some scoop right there.
This is really a good play here to keep it from being a wild pitch. Got the short hop with the one-hand catch. Good job.
You don't want to get the count to 3-2 here, and you put the runners in motion. McCracken's not a guy that strikes out.
Not a guy you can double easily either, and the fastball is outside, so we're full at 3-2. Look for the runners to run. Paul Sorrento waits on deck. Piazza giving signs to the middle infielders. I would imagine what he was doing was, if the runners do run, McCracken swings and misses, where he's going with the ball. They're not running, and he strikes out. 1 away. How about that?
Well, stayed out of a bat. That would have wiped the whole inning out. And it was a ball 4. He went for the bad cutter down and in.
Well, it's surprising he isn't running the runners here in this spot, and a good break for the Tampa Bay team, as it could have been a strikeout throwout play and a tough guy to strike out. When you have an expansion club, you got to do more than just play stand around baseball.
Paul Sorrento, the batter. He had 31 home runs with Seattle last year, and he takes a strike. 0-1 to Sorrento.
Nothing particularly, Ralph, with the left-hander out here today. We got a weaker lineup of Tampa Bay. They've got their left-handers on the bench are Wade Boggs, Fred McGriff, and Dave Martinez, the veteran. They got a good left-handed bench today.
Inside, 1-1. Little high cheese to Sorrento.
That's always a nice pitch. Got the good cutter. Throw the ball up and in. Keep him honest.
That one stayed inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Sorrento. You and I have both agreed over the years, Keith, about that being the most effective pitch to a left-handed batter from a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, well, left-handers like Willie McCovey, the list goes on. Billy Williams are natural low ball hitters. I was. The up and in pitch was the toughest pitch to lay off and to hit.
Back inside, 3 balls and a strike now to Sorrento. So the leadoff batter, Randy Wynn, walked on 4 straight pitches. Aaron Ledesma singled on a 1-1 count. Quentin McCracken struck out on a full count, and now the count is 3 balls and a strike to Sorrento. No score here in the first inning.
I'd be surprised if they run here. Sorrento can't strike out.
They were running, and this one looped into right field. So it's a full count to Sorrento. I mean, to me, that's backwards.
Right. I think he had the last 2 seasons with Seattle. He struck out 103 times, 112 times. You would think they would have ran with McCracken, who doesn't strike out.
Right.
And they turn around and run here.
And the 3-1 count is a hitter's count, and you want him to get a good pitch to hit. Now at 3-2, the runners should be running again.
See if Ordonez is thinking that way, and see if he sneaks in behind Wynn at second base. If you watch Ordonez, folks, if you're out at the ballpark and you watch Ordonez with a man on second, it's almost it's artsy just to watch him lean towards second base. And there he was right there, trying to make Wynn aware of his presence. If he is running, no kind of jump at second base.
Exactly. And as a manager, then you got to think twice about sending him.
There go the runners, and this one tapped foul. The Piazza saw that.
I know. I wonder if it hit him.
Yeah, it may have.
May hit him.
Yeah. Didn't pick it up right away, but that ball was fair there for a second.
Well, here's the pitch here. It's fouled, as we see. Oh, yeah, definitely. We have the bad angle up here, and we weren't looking at the monitor, were we?
I certainly wasn't.
I went to bed early last night.
Well, that's not said there.
Still full to Paul Sorrento. There go the runners. And this one fouled back, still 3-2.
You know, so far we've been in this game about 5 minutes. And the manager of the Tampa Bay team has done everything the opposite of what we call. He's running here on a 3-2 count with a left-hand batter up there, an easy throw to third on a strikeout. This has been certainly a strange start.
So a surprising game so far, particularly Keith's comment about his going to bed early.
That was the all-time high there.
Check. Still 3-2 to Sorrento. Well, you had a bed check. Your bed was there, right?
Yeah, bed check. I was in bed by 12:30 when I wrapped. I couldn't go to sleep. It's not my sleeping hours.
1 on, 2 out here in the first inning. Tim McCarver along with Keith Hernandez and Ralph Kiner.
I think I tossed and turned around 3 a.m.
Runners going. Swing and a miss. Throw to third. Not in time. That is the toughest throw for a catcher to make because he has to stay back to get the strike more than on any other count with a 3-2 count.
And the throw was in the dirt. He would have had him because Alfonso had to come up with the ball after hitting the dirt, and that cost him the tag.
So a stolen base for Wynn and Ledesma. 5 stolen bases for Randy Wynn, 3 for Aaron Ledesma, and that brings up Bobby Smith, the third baseman.
And what I liked about this pitch, Tim, right here we're going to show you, is that he came up and in the pitch prior and came right back up and in again. Most pitchers, when they throw inside, they come back with a breaking ball. I like the guy that doubles it up and comes right back in.
Check swing, foul tip. to Bobby Smith. 0-1 to the Devil Ray third baseman. Nothing in 2 now to Smith. Ball and 2 strikes now to Smith. Jim Leland telling me in spring training, he said, you're going to love Al Leiter. Out of all the pitchers, including Kevin Brown last year, that Al Leiter was the guy who could keep it off the fat part of the bat more than any other Marlin. Inside 2-2.
He's pitching tough here. This is his best sequence of pitches to a particular batter this inning.
His bread and butter. The fastball inside gets Smith. Back after this from Bell Atlantic. Rick White has started 2 games for the Devil Rays and Larry Rothschild. He used to pitch with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He signed as a free agent under the guidance of Chuck Lamar, the general manager, last January with Tampa Bay.
And today's Met lineup brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer. As you can see here, we got Fonzie at third leading off. Bernard Gilkey, who says he's swinging good at the plate, but in bad luck in left. Mike Piazza behind the plate. Olerud is batting cleanup at first. The red-hot Carlos Baerga at second. Butch Husky in right. Rich Becker in center field today. Ray Ordonez at short, our Gold Glover. I always like those Gold Glovers. And Al Leiter, our starter.
And the defense for Tampa Bay, Mike Kelly in left, Quentin McCracken in center field, Randy Wynn in right. At third base, we have Bobby Smith. Shortstop is Kevin Stocker. Aaron Ledesma at second base. And at first base, Paul Toronto. The catcher, Mike DeFelice.
Edgardo Alfonso leads it off. Al Leiter pitching out of trouble in the top of the first inning. And the first pitch from Rick White is inside, ball 1. 1-0 to Edgardo, batting .261. Slowed earlier in the year with that strain in his rotator cuff on the disabled list for 15 days. And there's a strike from White, 1-1.
Well, White has had a little bit of long ball, touched by long ball. In 8 innings, he's given up 3 home runs and 2 in 1 start. His second start. So we'll have to get a feel for him here. This is an expansion team. There's a lot of guys out here that just have minor league experience. White is not one of them. He's had some major league experience.
Signed originally by the Pirates.
2-2 to Alfonso. As a matter of fact, Larry Rothschild telling me before the game that in a very unusual way, and he wasn't obviously speaking verbatim, word for word. High and inside, a full count to Alfonso. Larry saying that injuries have been good for the Devil Rays in this sense, and I guess you might be thinking, well, only a supreme optimist can make a statement like that. Alfonso fouls it away, but his thinking was, as an expansion team, when you have a lot of injuries, you see a lot of players. And going into their second year in 1999, they will be much more able to appraise their talent by seeing a lot of players at the major league talent. I've really never thought of that. It makes a lot of sense. Still 3-2.
Well, I think when you're an expansion team, you're not going to fool yourself and think you're going to be in competition for a pennant. So you want to take a look at your players and assess them at the end of the season. The only way you can evaluate a player or players is to watch them in the course of the 162-game season.
Alfonso keeps battling White, still 3-2.
In 1962, the Mets won 40 games and lost 120. Casey Stengel was the manager, and at the end of the season, Casey said, "Men, this was a team effort."
Wasn't just one guy, right? It was a team effort. They lost 3 out of every 4 games they played that year. Still 3-2 to Alfonso. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, they're only 9 games under 500, 27-36 in the toughest division in baseball, with the Yankees running away with the Eastern Division of the American League.
Of course, this expansion, they had a shot at a lot of free agents.
Wonderful at bat for Alfonso. First walk of the ball game given to the Mets. That'll bring up Bernard Gilkey.
This is the kind of pitcher, Tim, I think, just watching him the first batter right here. He throws a lot of fastballs. I don't think he's terribly overpowering. Perfect guy to hit and run with, get the thing going quick.
It seems to me the first time seeing Rick White in 4 years that he's very predictable. And of all the traits about a pitcher, whether it's his pitch selection or the movement of his pitches, if he's predictable, you're going to get him sooner or later. Fouled away, 0-1 to Gilkey.
Well, he got to 3-1 and then 3-2 all his foul offs. He just kept on throwing fastballs right there. So I don't know if he has the confidence, or it's the first batter, you don't want to walk him, to throw a breaking ball 3-2. Boy, as a hitter, you know a fastball's coming. You know, 3-2, tight part of the game, or early to break open a game. If you're a good hit and run man, it's a beautiful thing.
Fastball just misses outside. 1-1 to Gilkey. Cookie Rojas, the third base coach. Alfonso and Gilkey watching the signs of the times. Talked about Alfonso being on the DL, with Bernard Gilkey on the disabled list also. He had a slight crack in his left elbow. Late April to about May 10th, and he came up. He was 1 for his first 24, and since that time, about mid-May, he has been sizzling. Bob Apodaca is the first base coach this afternoon. Talk about double duty.
Jeez. What's a pitcher doing out there? You gotta be kidding me.
Watch a line drive.
Where's Mookie?
Well, Mookie went to South Carolina on a family problem, and he's not here.
Okay.
Cookie Rojas. Cookie Rojas from Cuba, obviously elated, as are all Cuban players and ex-players at the success of Orlando Hernandez. El Duque winning again last night in Montreal for the Yankees. 2-2 to Gilkey.
Well, I saw Jim Cott the other day, around 5 days ago. He came over to my apartment, and he said this guy's got good stuff. He was really impressed with his first start. This is before his second start.
Duque 2-0. Ray Ordonez, a Gold Glove winner last year. Livan Hernandez. The Mets will be facing Hernandez, the brother of Orlando Hernandez, on Sunday. We'll have that game, as a matter of fact. Hideo Nomo will go against Livan Hernandez down Miami way. Outside, DeFelice looked like he was crossed up there. How do you cross somebody up with nobody on second?
I hear you. Don't you just put down one finger? You don't do any pumps to the runner on first, do you? Or...
But, you know, sometimes you have to look down there to make sure you got the same number of fingers down. Sometimes you cross yourself up.
You do. You cross yourself up.
Especially on day games.
Well, there is a glare here at Shea.
Well, you see catchers all the time look down at their fingers and make sure they're putting down the numbers they're thinking of.
There goes Alfonso, and this one hammered foul.
Boy, he had a big jump.
Boy,
right there.
I'll say.
That's the pitch we were talking about, that 2-2 pitch at DeFelice. Mishandled. So Alfonso retreats to first base. Normally you don't see those things go together. A big jump with the count 3-2 because it's not necessary to get a big jump.
Correct. You don't want to get picked off here, that's for sure.
Now the first base coach will say, make sure he goes home.
But we got Bob out there. Maybe he doesn't know.
Alfonso running. Fly ball, right field. Fairly deep. Over near the line. A nice play. Randy Wynn. And there's one out as Alfonso retreats to first.
Wynn had a lot of difficulty in left field last night. He was moved to right field and made the play of the game when he threw out a runner at home after a catch on a double play.
Mets losing last night 5-4 in 11 innings after winning on Monday night. And here's Mike Piazza.
Did Mike choose that song? That's a Jimi Hendrix song. That leads into his at-bat. Voodoo Child.
And a breaking ball in there. Strike one. 0-1 to Piazza. I guess he's not the only Hendrix fan. You are too.
Oh, well, yeah, I think so. Well, Jimi Hendrix came out with, that was the, I forget the album, but it was like 1968. And I was a sophomore in high school when that album came out. Electric Ladyland was the album.
Breaking ball stays inside. 1-1 to Piazza. I may like Jimi Hendrix, but he's built more like Steely Dan.
Very good. You're so witty. You're quick.
You can't write down things like that, you know.
No, you got to think on your feet.
Outside, 2 balls and a strike now to Piazza. Tell you, the way Piazza has been hitting, he would be a type of guy that you'd hit and run with because he's been shooting balls through on the right side. He only has 2 home runs, 3 doubles. I say only because normally he's much more productive with the long ball. Outside, 3-1 now to Piazza.
They play him as a right field hitter. He has tremendous power to right center.
You can see center fielder McCracken even shaded toward right center with the count in Piazza's favor. And Mike steps out.
I would send the runner here. It's just 3-1. Let him swing. And as a hitter, you can just take your pitch.
Outside, ball 4. Ralph and I have talked about that a lot, Pete, and for the most part, unless you're a hitter like Alfonso, we don't think a 3-1 count is a good running count, particularly with a guy like Piazza up there, because he wants to be very selective. And I think with a right-handed batter hitting, I think there is confusion with the runner running that might make a right-hander swing at a ball that's not necessarily in his zone.
Well, you really have to protect the runner to some degree. And with a 3-1 count, you want that hitter, especially a good hitter with great power, to have a selection of the pitch. If it's not the pitch he's looking for, he can take the pitch. And then on 3-2, have the runner go.
Yeah, it's true. And the Mets don't have a lot of speed. I played in the Cardinal teams where I never felt they ran Ozzie, they ran Lonnie Smith,
Gary Templeton before
Gary Templeton, and with the Mets it was Dykstra and Backman. It was no I felt that they were going to steal the base if I took it.
Third ball is down, 1 ball, no strikes.
And the fact that I'm not a power hitter, I was a doubles line drive hitter that's set up for the guys behind me. Darryl, the power hitters are behind me, Darryl and Carter. I never felt like I had to hit the long ball. But me, when I got a 3-1 pitch, my idea was to drive it into the gap, drive it hard.
Outside, 2-0. Most dramatic home run you ever hit. In my mind, it's as clear as yesterday. A breaking ball by Mark Davis in San Francisco as a pinch hitter, sitting on the breaking ball, win the game 3-2. 9th inning home run, I believe, wasn't it?
Pinch hit.
Yep, pinch hit.
I hit so many, it's hard for me to remember.
Outside 3-0 to Olerud.
I think I hit 164. Ralph, how many did you hit?
369.
In 10 years, right?
Yeah, right.
But you know, everybody that comes up to me, they always say, you struck out with the bases loaded. I remember that. They never say you hit that home run with the bases loaded.
See if Olerud's hitting here. Well, that was a good pitch to hammer that ball down and in. Now it's 3-1 to John. 2 on, 1 out by Ergo on deck.
In a way, John Olerud hits a lot like you used to.
Yes, I agree. He's patient. He goes to all fields. I mean, how do you even think about trading this guy now? I mean, he's leading the league in hitting. He's got a good glove.
I don't think they are.
I mean, please.
Well, he walks here. That loads him up.
I mean, he drove in over 100 runs last year. Well, what more do you want from your first baseman?
104 RBIs for Olerud last year. The other time he had over 100 RBIs when he led the American League in hitting in 1993 with the 363 average.
Plus, I think you need one of your big bats in this line. You need a left-hander. Particularly with Piazza now, you need a left-handed bat in there.
He's a good fit. There's no doubt about that.
Bases loaded for Baerga. Breaking ball in there. Strike 1.
So as a hitter, you come up here with the bases loaded. You got a guy that's walked the bases loaded, and he leads you off with a nasty outside corner curveball.
That's not fair. I was thinking the same thing, Keith.
Another curve. Another wicked curve. 0-2 to Baerga. Down at third base, Edgardo Alfonso. Over at second, Mike Piazza. And John Olerud at first. 1 out, no score, bottom of the first. Ground ball and a real mistake that White got away with.
Those were the pitches earlier in the year that he wasn't getting around on.
He was breaking his bat.
Right. Was not getting his rotation with his hips. And from both sides of the plate now, he's getting his body and his hands through. And that's why he's hitting.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen that since he came here from Cleveland.
Oh, 0-2 to Baerga. Punched foul. Still 0-2.
Well, you got to stay in here. It's you're 0-2. Butch Husky in the on-deck circle. You got to bear down here. The guy's wild, and he leads you off with 2 curveballs, puts you in a hole. You got to go up the middle right here.
Fastball gets him. So Baerga, he's the first strikeout victim by Rick White, and that'll bring up Butch Husky.
And this is a big strikeout here. Gives him his second out of the inning, and he goes after a bad pitch, a high fastball.
They kind of went up the ladder there. All the breaking balls down, a little sinker away, and then up the ladder. Carlos went fishing for it.
Carlos has walked only 5 unintentional times in 201 at bats. That's about 2.5% of the time. It's ridiculous to throw him a strike when you're ahead like that. Husky down and in, 1-0 to Butch Husky. No score, but it doesn't seem like it. Breaking ball inside, 2-0 to Husky. An ideal hitting situation.
Yeah, this is a great spot for Butch. He can make his choice right here. He's not doing well with men in scoring position. 197.
You got to look at some cheddar here.
Fastball, it looked like he was taking.
It sure did, and that's the worst thing he could be doing. He's got to be in a hitter's thinking mode. Now he's got it even better.
Now you work for 2-0, 3-1 counts.
Right.
You work for them, and when you get them, you're extremely aggressive at the plate.
A time was called by Mike DeFelice, the catcher. He wants to give the signs again. It's 3-0 to Husky. We'll see if Valentine turns him loose here. Bases loaded. No score here in the bottom of the first inning. Taking all the way. Ball 4. So that walks in a run. There have been 4 walks in this inning. 1-0 New York.
Wow.
You know, the key at bat in this inning to me, Edgardo Alfonso fouling off 5 pitches before he drew the walk. And now that kind of set the stage to the whole inning. Arguable point.
I think you're correct, Tim, because he was throwing strikes then, and he made him work for it.
Yeah, yeah.
It seemed like he just like popped his balloon with that one.
He's walked 4 in this inning, and that one's outside. So 1-0 to Rich Becker. Larry Rothschild, an ex-pitcher, seeing the one thing that managers or pitching coaches don't want to see, and that's ball 2. 2-0. There's no way to defend a walk.
And right here, I'd say he should be taking this pitch. Becker's hitting 143 with runners in scoring position. And the Mets could use another run on a walk. Kind of contrary to what you normally would do, but Becker has not been hitting well.
2 balls, no strikes to Becker. And it's high, ball 3. 3-0. And White can't find the White.
Well, he isn't even finding the block in the plate.
There's some movement. The phone is ringing down that bullpen. I just saw the bullpen coach go run into the phone there because this guy's aiming the ball now.
There's a strike over the White. 3-1 now to Becker.
Just off the black.
There's the White. That's the black and white of it, I guess, huh?
There's no gray area.
Not there. It's ball 4. 5 walks in this inning. It's 2-0 New York. And the carousel continues.
Number 10, shortstop,
well, this is expansion right now. This is showing it right here. There's just not enough pitching going around.
That's right. It shows up in the pitching department more than any other place. Right here, Ordonez has got to be taking the first pitch.
Ray Ordonez batting .239. The bases are loaded. 5 walks in this inning. No hits for the Mets, and they've plated 2. Breaking ball in there, 0-1.
Can't get the fastball over, so he goes to the curve.
In a pretty good spot, too. It's like if you're a hitter, you're going, oh, my goodness. What did I do last night to deserve
Why
this?
me, yeah.
Just like to Baerga. 2 curves over. And another breaking ball chopped towards second. And it's fielded by Ledesma. And he throws to first. So the Mets score without a hit. 2-0 New York. Back after this from Nobody Beats the Wiz. It was a very, very rough inning for Rick White. He had 5 walks, or issued 5 walks. The Mets scored 2 times. And it was the Devil Rays who were threatening more than the Mets, really, in their half of the first. They had 2 on, and then Al Leiter struck out the side, retiring Quentin McCracken, Paul Sereno, and Bobby Smith, all swinging strikeouts. Rick Williams, the pitching coach of the Devil Rays, as Mike Kelly, the left fielder, leads it off. He's 0 for June, 0 for 17 in the month of June.
Rick Williams is a son of Dick Williams, a former manager in the major leagues and former player.
Harry Gregg said that Kelly did not go around. So it's 1-1 to Mike Kelly. We're in the second inning of a 2-0 ball game. Mets on top. Inside, 2-1.
I see Eric Gregg still on that diet over there. He's been on that diet for 10 years.
And in fact, he went to Duke University Hospital and lost about 100 pounds 5 years ago, but looks like he's gained a lot of it back. Kelly is jammed. Piazza makes the play.
He went to that Duke program right after John McCarver died while getting ready to umpire the opening day game in Cincinnati a couple of years back.
John McCarver, one of the great umpires, great guy, one of the best attitudes as an umpire. You can argue with him, he wouldn't get excited. You really had to push him hard for him to lose his temper.
Mike DeFelice, the catcher. Devil Rays trail 2-0, and DeFelice fouls it off. DeFelice, formerly with the St. Louis Cardinals, he broke his bat on that one. That's the first bat of the afternoon that Leiter has gotten, but it won't be his last if all things continue according to Hoyle.
I think he broke. That was an outside corner fastball. I think he cued it off the end of the bat. Normally he gets the bats with that hard slider on the right-hander's hands.
Tampa Bay playing their games in St. Petersburg, Florida. We three are all very familiar with that town. Keith, you were with the Cardinals and the Mets
and
before they moved to Port St. Lucie. And Ralph, you've announced in that area. And I was with the Cardinals in that St. Pete area, just a haven for spring training baseball. And the Devil Rays play their games, even though they're the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, they play their games in St. Petersburg. 0-2 to DeFelice.
Right by the causeway there, and a man very instrumental in getting that ballpark built, a great friend of ours, John Lake, Jack Lake, who was the publisher of the St. Pete Times. Wonderful man, and the inspiration for Major League Baseball in that area.
1 ball, 2 strikes to DeFelice. Curveball, punch toward right, and it's going to be a base hit. Extra bases for DeFelice. Husky lumbers over to it, and now DeFelice is being sent to third, and he'll make it. Good example of DeFelice picking up the third base coach, Greg Riddick. And really the only time, in my opinion, that you need that third base coach is that ball down in the corner.
Absolutely. The ball's behind you. When the ball's in right center field, you can make your judgment as you're rounding, getting close to rounding second base. But the ball in the corner here, that's behind you. You've got to pick up your third base coach. That would have been 3 either way if Butch picked it up cleanly.
So a triple for Mike DeFelice, his second of the year, puts him at third with 1 out. And Kevin Stocker, the shortstop's the batter. Infield is back, and now they're coming in, and the fastball is high. You may think that's strange with a 2-0 lead, but you do have the bottom of the order. Makes sense to bring them in this situation. Everybody but Ordonez came in on that play. Now here comes Ordonez, and the fastball inside, 2-0.
I mean, it's a manager's choice here. I would, with the way the Rick White started the first inning, I would play back and concede the run here because White has no command of his pitches.
Well, you don't want a big inning, and that's the reason why you play back.
Now he's brought the whole infield in now.
Of course, the argument is every run counts.
Chopped foul, 2-2.
And that is the manager's choice, and you can't second guess one way or the other. He's in charge there, and Bobby's choosing to cut off the run at the plate here. I think if there was another runner on base, he wouldn't do this.
No, he'd be back.
And the bottom of the order, too. This one hits Stocker. So the fastball goes inside. That's the 6th hit batsman. And it looked like it hit Mike Piazza. That's the second time Piazza's been hit in the last 5 days. First time by Pedro Martinez on the left hand up in Boston. And this time with a carom.
It's a cut fastball in. That's off his knee. And he got it off on the ricochet on the inner thigh. The infamous inner thigh for catchers. That hurts.
Throw to first. I think Leiter may have been seeing what White was going to do. I know a lot of managers bunt in this situation. I do not think that's a good play with 1 out, runners on at first and third to put down a bunt. Of course, you are dealing with an American League team, and their pitchers do not bunt. He'll be bunting, and the fastball is high. I think all you have to do is put a ball in play, and unless the defense turns a double play, you've got to run.
That's a good point, Tim. These guys aren't used to swinging the bat.
It's 1 ball, no strikes to White. Swinging the bat here, a chopper, and Alfonso goes to second. Back to first, double play. The pitcher was running. It is 2-0 Mets. Back after this from Avis. Mike Piazza and Bobby Valentine smiling about Al Leiter. And you know, we mentioned Al earlier about Jim Leland in spring training, and Jim said made that comment about keeping the ball off the fat part of the bats. He said, but at times he'll drive you crazy because in almost every inning he'll have runners on, but somehow find a way out of it, and that's what he's done the first 2 innings today.
And I didn't think they had a chance to get the double play.
I didn't either.
Mets defense in that infield is outstanding.
Carlos made a nice pivot there at second base.
And Al Leiter escapes unscathed, and he leads it off here in the second inning, winning 2-0
without a hit.
Al with 4 hits on the year, 4 RBIs also. As a matter of fact, a big hit against the Chicago Cubs, winning that game 3-2 back in early May, or make that early April. 1 ball, no strikes to Leiter. 1-1. It
just doesn't look like Rick White is really overpowering with that fastball. I mean, hasn't got great command as a hitter here. It's just, he throws you the curveball for a strike, fine, do it again, pal, and wait for that fastball on him. You're going to get ahead in the count.
Take the curve and look for the fastball.
Little breaking ball, chopped back to White. Over to Sorrento for the first out in the second inning. It's interesting about pitching after we get satisfy our fans, the folks at Ginsana. Fans, Ginsana is the all-natural energizer. Find the energy, feel your Ginsana. Tim McCarver along with Keith Hernandez, Ralph Kiner on a glorious afternoon for baseball or any other thing for that matter. But it's interesting when you talk about pitchers and their size. I mean, Rick White's a big guy, 6'4", 215 pounds. There's a fastball for a strike. Randy Johnson is 6'10", 230 pounds, and yet Greg Maddux weighs 175 pounds. Pedro Martinez weighs 170 pounds. This one popped foul, 0-2. So you're talking about you know, fair arm and Rick White, but it runs the gamut. Size really doesn't dictate whether you're a good pitcher or not.
Well, I think baseball is it's the one sport of the big 3 that you don't have to be big. I mean, you don't look for, like football, a 300-pound lineman, and you don't look for that in baseball. You don't look for a guy 6'11" or 7-foot center in baseball. You know, that's all in the hands, the wrists, the forearm.
Frank Howard's a good example.
Yeah. Big Hondo.
But you know, if you're 6'10" and you're a hitter, that strike zone is bigger, and it's harder to defend against it.
Of course, if you're 6'10" and it is in the strike zone, you can do something with it, and Frank Howard could do that. As you look at Steve Henderson, the hitting instructor of the Devil Rays, and the fastball gets Alfonso on the outside corner.
That looked like the ball was up. I think Bruce saw the first 5 balls in the first inning. Kind of wants to get this guy to get his rhythm. Going to help him out here.
Speed up the game.
This is a pitch that is, well, I tell you what.
Close enough.
That is belt high. I thought it was higher. He just gave him the corner.
You don't see Alfonso take too often with 2 strikes on that outside part of the plate. You may fool him inside occasionally, but not outside. Gilkey with the bunt attempt, and I did not think that's a good play. I mean, it's 2 out, nobody on. Bernard Gilkey's been swinging the bat. 1 out, nobody out, different story, but not 2 out, nobody on.
Well, he's thinking, I'm sure, that if he gets on, he's got Piazza behind him and then Olerud, and that could be his thinking. But I'm with you, Tim. He's got enough power to hit the ball for extra bases.
Plus, like he told me earlier in the game, he feels real good at the plate, just hitting the ball at people. Hey, keep swinging.
Hammered to right field, and right there is Wynn. Some go-ahead scouts doing his job, I'll tell you. That ball's got to be in there and would be against most teams. 2-0 Mets. Back after this from Vitasana. Mets scored without benefit of a hit in the first inning. Matter of fact, the Mets are hitless, but lead at 2-0. Al Leiter has been in trouble in the first inning and the second inning. He's pitched out of it. And Randy Wynn will be the batter to lead it off. Oh, bobbing head dial man. There he is. Hi, pal.
That's a yes man right there.
Fastball is high. And it's ball 1. You know what? Not too many yes men or coaches in the major leagues now. Used to be that a manager would hire a lot of his good buddies and everything. But now I think a manager really admires autonomy from his coaches. There's a fastball for a strike to win. 1-1.
Those players, you're always worried that, you know, who was the pipeline back to the manager or back to the front office.
Yep.
Remember George Kissel used to wait in the lobby a few times to see who rolled in at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Ground ball towards short, sucked up by Ordonez.
Of course, Gil Hodges had a better trick than that. He's leaving the baseball with the night watchman in the hotel, and he would ask the guys to sign the ball. They came in late. And then Gil would get the ball the next day and call a meeting.
Well, what did Gil consider late?
Unfortunately for you, it was very early.
Boy, that's the second slam at Keith today. He's after you.
Ralph's all over.
That fastball is inside to Ledesma. He had a base hit back in the first inning.
You would have had autographs all over the place.
Ground ball to Alfonso. 2 quick outs here in the third. Now, Ray Ordonez made a rather routine play. That ball hit to him, but we were talking about it before the game to list, and we asked our guy Artie Friedman to list all the Cuban Gold Glove winners, those whose origin was in Cuba, and they've won it 7 times. The only multiple winner was Manny Minoso when he played with the Cleveland Indians. Here it is again. Zoyo Versailles was also the most valuable player of the American League back in 1965 when the Twins won the American League pennant. Lost to the Dodgers in 7 games. 0-2 to Quentin McCracken.
Leo Cardenas was a shortstop for the Reds, right?
Chico Cardenas, yep.
I didn't know his name was Leo. That's why I always knew him as Chico Cardenas.
Boy, he's a good player, too. Oof, he could play. Poked foul, still 0-2 to McCracken.
Chucky Rojas, a Gold Glove second baseman in Cuba.
And McCracken down on strike. McCracken becomes the 4th lighter victim this afternoon. Still 2-0 Mets. Back after this from Saturn.
Ball first pitch. If you get that fastball first pitch, you're jumping all over it. If throws you a curveball, you take it. Unless he hangs it.
0-1 to Baerga. 2 on, nobody out here in the 3rd. Up the middle, off the pitcher's leg. The second baseman Ledesma made a fine recovery. That ball had base hit written all over it until it hit the left foot of Mike White, a fielder's choice for Baerga.
And this ball really hit hard. It was a base hit all the way until it hit him on the leg. And they almost get the double play.
That was that hanger you were talking about, Keith.
Right. He got it up in the strike zone in the outer half. It seems like Carlos made the adjustments after the first at bat. He saw his curveball, a couple nasty curveballs, and then he really comes back the second time, has nothing to get him out with.
White appears to be all right. That's what a lot of young hitters just refuse to do. I mean, how you can go up there and without an idea. I mean, you're going to take your offers in a game, but at least to have an idea and to adjust from one at bat to the other, because you know darn good and well the other team's doing that.
Right. It's almost like war. You go into a game knowing the pitcher and you have a strategy. But then as the game progresses, you may have to change your tactics as how good the pitcher is that day. He may have a good breaking ball that day and a so-so fastball. He may have them both. He may have nothing.
Now the Mets have something. It's 2-0 New York with 1 out, runners on at the corners. Butch Husky walked his first time up, and the fastball is outside. 1-0 to Husky. Something to keep in mind, Butch Husky has grounded into 10 double plays this year. In order to stay out of that double play, Bobby Valentine may move Baerga with a favorable count. Fastball on the corner, 1-1. Don't normally do that with a big guy and with a big swing like Husky has, but you're a better hitter. If you get the pitch, you're a better hitter when you're hitting and running because you don't try to do too much with it.
Exactly, and it forces you to swing. You'd be surprised what you can hit.
1 ball, 2 strikes now to Husky.
No, I wouldn't put the hit and run sign on for Ralph Kiner. Never. I'd let Ralph wail.
One thing I learned very early in my career was to know what was coming, or at least have an idea.
Have an idea. If you don't know the pitch, you know the area. You have an idea. Yeah, I mean, you can be fooled, you can be tricked.
Hank Greenberg came over to the Pirates in 1947 and taught me that above all things, the most important thing in hitting. And when you go to the plate, have an idea.
Chop back toward the mound, barehanded by White. Piazza is tagged out by the catcher, DeFelice. 2 outs.
Well, in last night's ball game, Husky had 2 hits that were just about like the one he hit there. This time, the pitcher got to play at the plate.
This pitches him, it beats a breaking ball away, it looks like. He tends to want to fly out and get his fanny out. Doesn't stay in. And they always, it seems, what I've seen of Butch, they pitch him inside. Pitcher made a great play here, barehanded. Piazza does the right thing, trying to get in a rundown to get the runners to second and third. Well, actually, it didn't quite do it, but it was just a great play by the pitcher and the catcher.
Rich Becker now the batter, and the curveball's in there, strike 1. So the Mets had runners on at first and second in this inning. Baerga scorched one through the middle and hit the foot of White, and that was a big play and a key to this inning so far. Inside, 1-1 to Becker. Rich, one of those 5 walks given up by White in the first inning. Change, left field. Mike Kelly over to make the play, and that'll do it for the Mets in the third. 2-0 New York after 3. Back after this from Amazon.com. Both starters, Rick White of the Devil Rays and Al Leiter of the Mets, have been in trouble. Rick White was almost out of the game in the first inning. He walked 5, walking in the only 2 runs of the ball game. We're in the top of the 4th, along with Ralph Kiner and Keith Hernandez. I'm Tim McCarver on a glorious baseball day. And Paul Sorrento, the first baseman who struck out his first time up, is the hitter. Ball 1.
That was kind of an interesting setup. It looked like he threw his cutter, and Piazza set up inside.
Drilled into right field. Was an odd looking pitch. I think it was the same pitch. The second pitch, either curveball or
it was like a slider to
flat. Yeah.
Hung right over the plate. Belt high there to be ripped.
Serrano playing in place of Fred McGriff. And the first pitch is the pitch right here with the catcher inside. And it's either cut or slider. Now the same pitch back.
And he's hanging that one right there. And Serrano is a dead pull hitter. Pitch him power inside, bat off the plate and away.
Bobby Smith, the strikeout victim to end the first inning, fouls one off, 0-1.
Serrano playing first base and McGriff not playing. McGriff has hit 1 home run in his last 36 games.
7 on the year for Fred. This one chopped, and will it roll foul? Yes. Fine play by Alfonso. 0-2 now to Bobby Smith.
That's just another example of not only the defense, you know, making the plays in the field, but there's a lot of intelligence out on this infield too. The guys know how to play the game.
Well, he knows he has no chance to get the runner.
Nobody perhaps more intelligent from a baseball standpoint than that man right there. He is an icon in his native Venezuela.
He should be.
And he should very well be. .315 hitter last year. He knows how to play the game, as you said, Keith.
Probably the only thing lacking in his game is he doesn't have great speed. If he had great speed, holy cow, it'd just be, he would have everything, every aspect of the game.
Talk about instincts. And the 0-2 pitch outside to Smith. 1-2 to Bobby. Way outside. 2-2.
Getting back to McGriff, Ralph, you know, he's 6 for his last 36 at bats. Has 3 hits in the month of June, so he's slumping. He's giving him a day off.
Devil Rays with a bunch of guys like that. Bobby Smith 1 for his last 16. Make that 17. 1 out.
And of course, McGriff, one of the outstanding hitters, is going to be close to 400 home runs in his career. And at the tail end of his career at this point.
Wade Boggs, 160 hits away from the magic 3,000. 2,840 hits. Fastball jammed near the dugout of the Devil Rays. It's 0-1 now to the left fielder Mike Kelly.
I talked to Wade before the game when they were warming up before their batting practice, and I said, Wade, what do you need, around 175 hits for 3,000? He goes, no, 160. I go, just like Pete Rose. He knew exactly.
You better believe it, baby.
Well, Boggs, of course, one of the great hitters. About a .330 lifetime average. 7 times in a row he had 200 hits in a season.
High 1-1. It was nice to read too that Wade Boggs was warmly greeted when he returned to Yankee Stadium when the Devil Rays played the Yankees there a week ago or last weekend.
Well, he should be. I mean, he was part of that championship team.
Yep.
He was precariously on the cliff there of being a player that would play his whole career and never be a World Series champion.
With the Red Sox.
He went from precariously on a cliff to precariously on that horse
Yes,
after the celebration.
It's a photo op.
2 balls, 1 strike to Kelly. Strike on the inside corner, 2-2 to Mike. Got him. 6 strikeouts for Leiter.
Catcher Mike DeFelice.
That makes Mike Kelly now 0 for 19 in June. That's no fun.
Bunch of Devil Rays that are free falling. Mentioned McGriff and then Bobby Smith and now Mike Kelly. Here's Mike DeFelice, who poked a triple down the right field line his first time up, his 2nd triple of the year. The fastball is high, ball 1.
On a breaking ball away. So we'll see how they pitch him this time, because he went that way naturally, and with power he drove the ball to right field. Let's see if they try to change the program here and pitch him in.
Fastball misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes to DeFelice. 2-0 Mets here in the top of the 4th inning. Paul Sorrento opened this inning with a double down the right field line, and then Leiter came back to get Bobby Smith and Mike Kelly on strikes. He has struck out 6 and walked 1. Just misses. 3-0 to DeFelice.
Well, if ever it's true now, Ralph, Tim, it's to win a division or win a championship, with expansion, you've got to beat up on the 2nd division clubs. You've got to beat these teams and play 500 against the better teams.
Outside corner, 3-1 to DeFelice.
The schedule certainly favors the Mets in the next couple of weeks. They go to Florida from here. Of course, Florida, the world's champions last year, but not the same team.
Then they go up for 3 in Montreal and come back home with Florida.
3-2 now to DeFelice.
So it's a 10-game span coming up, playing against really 2nd division teams, and you got to beat up on them. It's a great opportunity here.
Mets were on that roll. They had won 9 in a row. They go into Pittsburgh, a very tenacious, pesky type of Pittsburgh ball club. Pittsburgh won 3 in a row. 3 tough ball games, and then the Mets went to Boston and won 2 out of 3 there. And that got Bruce Trimming on the mask. Bruce is all right. Still 3-2 to DeFelice. There's a pro's pro right there. You talk about a guy who bears down. One of the better umpires that I've experienced in my 39 years.
Even when he first came up, he was one of the better umpires.
Really was.
And he's got a better attitude now. When he first came up, he was really grumpy.
Bruce can laugh now.
Right. We used to call him Napoleon.
I'll tell you, that's a tough business to be able to laugh at, an umpire's.
You didn't call him Napoleon to his face.
No, Bruce is one of the guys always said, how's it going, Bruce?
You call him Bruce to his face and Napoleon behind his back. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
House of Hamley.
Hit deep to left field. Gilkey is back and can't get to it. Off the top of the wall, Sorrento scores. DeFelice has a double, and it's now a 2-1 Met lead.
We got a double to right field. Now he turns on this one and hits. I can't tell the pitch there, but it looked like it was out over the plate. His hands are extended. So I'm sure it's a mistake. And as a hitter, you've got to jump on the mistakes. Piazza's setting up outside. Fastball breaks right down the middle, belt high. You better jump on those.
DeFelice did, driving in run number 12 on the year. That was his third double. He has a double and a double and a triple today. And the fastball is in there to Kevin Stocker. 0-1 to the Devil Rays shortstop. Foul back. 0-2. It shows you how difficult that fastball in on the hands, that cutting, running fastball that we were talking about earlier, is on, and how tough it is to pick up because he keeps throwing it.
I almost want to, think I would classify. I know it's a cutter, but as a hitter, I would classify the way it breaks down as a slider.
More of a slider.
That would be my approach to that pitch, not a cutter.
Oh, he's down on that similar pitch. But the Devil Rays are on the board and out of water. 2-1 Mets. Back after this from Toyota. Two to 1 Mets, bottom of the fourth inning. And today's game is brought to you by Nobody Beats the Wiz, your total home entertainment center. And by your local Greater New York Toyota dealer. Toyota every day. A few tube steaks going very well today. Hot dogs. Get your hot dogs with mustard. You know what? Almost every major league team, they're sober cut. For instance, the Cardinals, and everybody knows what a Cardinal is. Everybody knows what a Yankee is, a Giant, a Dodger. They were trolley Dodgers back in Ebbets Field. But there may be some people who don't know what Devil Rays are. And Ray Ordonez leads it off here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Now, Keith, he's leading to something here.
I'm all ears.
0-1.
He's had that research book out.
No, it was only a dictionary. Ordonez tapped to second baseman Aaron Ledesma his first time up. And he takes ball 1-1 to Ordonez. 2-1 Mets here in the fourth inning. Well, it's part of the Manta Ray family, the Giant Ray family, but they're also devilfish. I didn't realize that. That looked like a splitter to Ray Ordonez. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ray.
And also known as stingrays.
Stingrays,
right.
Yep. I think they're a larger version of
the Manta is the largest. The Manta Ray is the largest version.
Yep. Okay.
I believe. What do I know?
That could be right. No, that could be right. We thought we'd go to the dictionary. I mean, it's actually part of the octopus family. I didn't know that.
And they do sting.
Yes, they do. The sting of a stingray is at the base of the tail. I do know that for a fact.
Most people get stung that step on them in the shallow water.
Grounded toward third. Bobby Smith throws out Ordonez. 1 out here in the fourth inning. And we're going to go to Webster's. What is a Devil Ray? Well, a Devil Ray is resembling or befitting a devil. One of several extremely large rays and widely distributed in warm seas. And we're going to take it a step further as Leiter fouls one back.
We will have more useless information for you people out there as this game progresses.
There it is. The Rays meeting the Mets for the first time. 0-2 now to Leiter.
Actually, there's an area in the Cayman Islands. I'm a diver, and you go down and dive.
Stingray City.
Right. You go down there and feed them. Get some food around there, and it'll be 15, 20 of them all around you.
Grounded toward first, and it's a fair ball. The Leiter grounds out.
third baseman,
There are 2 outs here in the 4th inning. And that'll bring up Edgardo Alfonzo, 0 for 1, a strikeout and a walk, and a run scored.
And they are big. 2,000 pounds?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. Maybe if not that, 1,000 certainly. Can't tell. They're buoyant, right? Can't tell in the water.
Well, I ran into a bunch of manta rays one time out in a boat with John Martin, a former teammate out off of Stewart. And we thought they were dolphins, and then we came up on them in the boat, and there was around 10 of them just basking in the sun, and they had a wingspan, I would say, around 8 feet.
This one hit hard, line to Ledesma. He drops the ball and throws out Alfonzo. But rubber game of 3. It is still 2-1 New York. We go to the 5th after this from Ford. Mets over the Devil Rays 2-1. They have been out hit 4-1. As a matter of fact, when they scored their 2 runs, there were no hits in that 5-walk first inning by the Devil Rays starter, Rick White. And he'll be leading it off here in the top of the 5th inning. Al Leiter has struck out 7 in 4 innings. And it's 0-1 to White.
How about those San Francisco Giants? 11 in a row they've won. They've taken over the Padres with a 1-game lead. Dusty Baker's just done a great job with that club.
I was thinking the same thing. Al Leiter has White fouled back, a ball and 2 strikes. That's after winning last year when nobody thought he would win. Manager of the league, manager of the year in the National League last year. Keep in mind the Giants won, what, 101 games back in 1993 and didn't win it. And White becomes the 8th strikeout victim here in the 5th inning, 1 away.
Growing up as a kid in the San Francisco Bay Area, Ralph and Tim, you remember this. They'd always were the bridesmaids to the Dodgers with Koufax and Drysdale. And geez, they had Marichal and Gaylord Perry and Willie Mays, McCovey. They always finished in 2nd place for the Dodgers.
Except in 62. Except in 62.
Wills would get on, steal 2nd. Junior Gilliam would get him over. Willie Davis, Tommy Davis.
Scoring the sacrifice fly.
Right.
Of course, Marichal never won the Cy Young. And he was a great pitcher. Koufax, a little bit better.
So was Gibson. Just a little bit better.
3 Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the year that Gibson had the 1.12 ERA, Marichal won 26 that year.
Right.
1968. As we look at our Nobody Beats the Wiz scoreboard, it's 2-0 to Randy Wynn, the right fielder, and Randy takes a strike. All the other action, with the exception of the Seattle-San Francisco game, is tonight in now our Toyota American League scoreboard. All the American League games at night, or the interleague games, played.
And don't forget the Cubs.
Chicago Cubs. What a story. Kerry Wood, he lost last night to Brad Radke of the Minnesota Twins as Randy Wynn draws a base on balls. That's the 2nd time he's walked, and the 2nd walk given up by Al Leiter. That'll bring up Aaron Ledesma, the 2nd baseman.
Well, Al's going to have to pay close attention to this guy because he can steal bases. And it's a 2-1 ball game, as you know. This guy is a rookie and has had 3 seasons in the minor leagues, has stolen over 100 bases.
He has 5 this year. Of course, as we said earlier, he was just brought up by the Marlins, and Ledesma pops it up. Could be playable, but finds the seats. 0-1 to Aaron Ledesma.
You're right, Ralph. The Cubs have made it a race over there with Houston, and I like Houston's ball club, and it's really a shame. If I'm the general manager, I would never have let Darryl Kyle go. I would let him go to Colorado, their ace.
One of the best curveballs you see in Major League Baseball today.
Inside, 1-1 to Ledesma.
And the Giants are one of 3 teams with over 40 wins. They're 41-24. Have a 1-game lead over San Diego.
Giants have just exploded over the last 6 weeks of the season. Orel Hershiser, what a year he has had.
He had a horrible April and was pitcher of the month of May.
5-0 in the month of May. Matter of fact, hitters are hitting less against Orel Hershiser than any other pitcher in the National League right now. 190. 2 balls and a strike to Ledesma. We'll see if Larry Rothschild hits and runs here. Two to 1 Mets. We're in the 5th. Absolutely beautiful here at Shea. Big crowd on hand. There goes the runner, and this one fouled away. 2-2 to Ledesma.
This is a tough pitch to hit and run with. You know, that down and in hard slider that breaks under your bat. It's hard to inside out that pitch if you want to hit it the other way. As it comes down and in, it's just hard to get when the ball's down, like breaking down like that. It's very difficult to inside out the opposite field with that.
You're pulling it, it's hard to keep it fair.
The ball up in the strike zone is much easier to inside out the other way with on a hit and run.
That one was too high. 3-2 now to Ledesma. We're relatively sure Randy Wynn will be running. He did have a stolen base back in the 1st inning. He and Ledesma executing the double steal. And there he goes, and this one looped to right field. Husky on the run to make the play. The throw back to first, not in time. A nice play by Butch Husky. And there are 2 outs.
Actually, very alert base running on the part of Randy Wynn there. That was a play where you had to read that. I wasn't sure. You got a slow right fielder out there. And Butch Husky doesn't cover a lot of ground. Catches what he can get to. But this is a read here and could have very easily been a double play.
You know, it looked like from that replay that Husky was cheating in. He took about a step and a half in as the ball was delivered. Butch makes a nice play out of that. And here's Quentin McCracken, who has struck out twice. Low, ball 1. Check out Butch Husky as the ball's being delivered with this shot right here. Husky's the far fielder.
Well, it's definitely running away from him. You know, once Butch gets going, he's a lot faster than he looks. Just a matter of getting him out of the gate.
Ground ball towards second. Easy play for Baerga, and he throws to Ordonez covering for the 3rd out after 4.5, midway of a 9-inning game. It's 2-1 New York. Back after this from Omni Point. 2-1 Mets here in the bottom of the 5th inning. A sun-splashed crowd here at Shea. And let's take a look at our new Dodge quiz. Now, we're ganging up on you folks because there are 3 of us here today. Which current manager was born in France, site of the World Cup that began today in Saint Denis, Brazil versus Scotland? Current Major League manager who was born in France. Of course, France, the site of the World Cup that begins today and that actually began today in Saint Denis. Bernard Gilkey leads it off here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
And Brazil, the favorite.
Brazil's the favorite?
I believe so, yes. I have some European friends that in the city of New York, so cosmopolitan. They say that Brazil, head and shoulders, has the best team above everybody else.
0-2 now to Gilkey. Well, why is soccer so popular in this country, Ralph?
You're now gonna get all kinds of mail if I answer that question.
Come on, Ralph, tell us.
Breaking ball down, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, you know the kids all play soccer here. And, of course, it's the most popular game in the world if you talk about Europeans.
Right.
What have you.
Why is that?
Folks, I'm going to have to say, I don't know the answer. Well, actually, I think the reason why so many people play soccer here in the States is that they don't want to watch it. Now, you can't say that about Europe or South America.
That's true. That's true.
Or any of the other countries. It is the most popular game.
Well, I mean, as this one grounded back to White, he throws out Gilkey, one out here in the 5th inning. I mean, I'm kind of kidding about that, but these are some of the charges that have been leveled toward baseball. Not only recently, but back in the early 70s before the 75 World Series, Red Sox and Cincinnati Reds, as Piazza steps up and gets his big hand, of course.
I think one of the reasons why there's not as empty Little League fields now and not enough kids playing baseball today is because of the advent of soccer. Because a lot of kids find out they play it at a very young age, so around 10, and they kind of lose interest in soccer, the American kids. And it's taking away from them playing baseball. I mean, we're not a European country, and our big three is football, basketball, and baseball. So I think soccer has kind of hurt the game here in America.
One of the things about soccer is that it's very inexpensive to play.
Right.
Baseball, you got to have bats and balls and uniforms and what have you. Soccer, you need a ball. That's it.
Breaking ball popped up. This is not a routine play on a day like today. A nice play by Bobby Smith to retire Piazza. There is a nasty glare here at Shea, and like at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, nothing is routine. John Olerud, the batter, with 2 out and nobody on here in the 5th. Mets up 2-1. I think it's interesting in that almost any place else in the world, athletes are trained with their feet in soccer. In this country, you're trained with your hands primarily, basketball and baseball being the 2 primary sports. Inside corner to Olerud, 0-1 to John.
So one thing about soccer, it's a great game to play. And as far as ability and being in shape and what have you. I played soccer when I was in the service. World War II.
You never told me that.
Yeah.
0-2 now to John Olerud.
Where were you stationed during the war?
Several places, but I played in San Luis Obispo in a pre-flight program that they had there. And my soccer instructor, when I went through St. Mary's, was Charlie Gehringer.
Fancy footwork around second base for
He
Detroit.
had the good feet there. Yeah.
That was my dad's idol as a kid growing up.
Speaking of footwork, you're looking at Ray Ordonez. Nobody has fancier footwork. I think that gets lost in the shuffle. You were terrific defensive first baseman. Everybody in New York knows that, Keith, but your footwork, particularly for the left side of the infield, is very, very important. Aids the arm.
Absolutely. Well, first base, as a first baseman, you got to straddle the bag, you got to stretch. There's a lot of footwork going on.
2-2 to Olerud.
You don't see it as much as you used to, but at first base, they used to shift feet more. Now they plant one foot in the bag and catch it. But I always used to shift inside or outside.
I always used one, well, the fly ball there.
Olerud flies out. So it's still 2-1 New York. Back after this from nobody beats the Wiz.
I believe in that day.
Show up at Shea on Saturday, June 20th, as the Mets take on the Florida Marlins. All kids will take home a free baseball bat, courtesy of Pizza Hut.
The Bat Computer says order your tickets today.
Original Batman Adam West will be on hand at Shea with a Batmobile. For tickets, call 718-507-TIXX.
Good citizens of Gotham, show up at Shea.
good ball game, but it didn't start out like that. Both starting pitchers pitching out of trouble in the first inning. Since that time, things have become rather settled here at Shea. It's 2-1 New York. The Mets scoring both of their runs in the first inning on 5 walks by the starter Rick White, as Paul Sorrento, who doubled his last time up and has scored the only run for the Devil Rays, takes strike 1, and then the fastball bites inside. 1-1.
I think this is where you got to pitch Sorrento. That's for sure. You got to pitch him inside.
Piazza setting up in there, but Leiter high with the fastball. 2-1. Sorrento is jammed. Piazza near the stands. Can't get to it. 2-2.
Don't get hurt down there. Boy.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. What if Mike Piazza, who turned down an $88 million contract, or 80+ million, whatever the number is, earlier in the year, gets a career-threatening injury while negotiating for a larger sum of money?
How about an automobile accident or something?
Yeah, sure.
You know, anything can happen.
Yeah. 3-2 now to Sorrento.
One of the things that ball clubs do, they take out insurance policies against those big contracts. Lenny Dykstra, for example, is not playing and hasn't played for a couple of years. And it's only going to cost the Phillies about $1 million to pay it off.
That's to pay off the $6 million contract this year. I read where Lenny was seriously considering giving it up now. And I think it was the Post this morning or yesterday morning. Bobby Smith, the batter. He has not caught up to a lighter fastball today. He struck out twice. 1 for his last 17. You know, it might be smart for Mike Piazza to take out insurance.
That's an idea. I mean, for a year.
Sure.
Until
why not?
Till the ink's dry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to turn down $80 million, what's $500,000 to insure yourself, knowing that the least you're going to get is a lot of money. Let's just put it that way. A ton of money. 1-1 to Bobby Smith. I wonder if Mike's done that. I
have no idea.
Sort of like covering all your bases, so to speak.
That's right. One and 1 to Bobby Smith. 2-1. Mets over the Devil Rays, but Paul Sorrento on at first. It's 2 balls and a strike now to Bobby Smith. We're in the 6th inning.
Billy Hatcher, the first base coach, hit the home run off Jesse Orozco in game, 6? Remember?
That's right.
We had the 1-run lead.
14th inning.
Yeah,
bottom of the 14th.
Yep. Made us go another 3 more innings before we won that game. Didn't get home to around 6 o'clock in the morning.
That was one of the great games of all time. You got the big hit in the 9th inning.
Just outside. It's a full count now to Bobby Smith. We're talking about 1986. Mike Scott was scheduled to pitch the next night. Both teams had traveled down to Houston without an off day, playing at 3 o'clock starting time, Houston time. And that series ended with a world championship after the ball trickled through Bill Buckner's legs in game 6, and the Mets came back from a 3-0 deficit in game 7.
2 of the greatest games ever played.
Man.
That 6th game in the World Series and the final game in the playoffs.
Sorrento not running, and Smith continues to foul it off. Almost simultaneously, the best American League game arguably ever played was game 5 of the California Red Sox series, when the California Angels were 1 strike away from clinching the American League pennant in 5 games.
Henderson hit the home run off Johnny Moore.
That's it. Yeah. Ruined Moore's career.
Down on strikes again is Bobby Smith. Strikeout number 9 for Leiter. One away here in the 6th, and we'll take you back to the New Dodge quiz since we're going back over things. Which current manager was born in France, site of the World Cup that began today in St. Denis, Brazil versus Scotland? Our guest was Bruce Bochy.
A catcher.
Yep. An Army brat.
Doing a good job as manager of the Padres.
When people ask me about the greatest, what was it like to play Game 6 in the World Series, and I say the greatest game I ever played in was the final game, Game 6 in Houston. That 17-inning game, or was it 17, Ralph? You remember?
17.
Yep.
Well, the Mets were down.
3-0.
Nepper was pitching.
Bob Nepper.
3-hit shutout.
Lenny Dykstra pinch hit to open the 9th inning.
Davey just shocked me and pinch hit
Shocked
Dykstra
me too.
when he pinch hit him.
Unbelievable.
And he hits a leadoff triple.
Left-hand
Prior
batter.
to this, you and I have never talked about this.
Left-hand batter against the tough left-hand pitcher.
Hanging curveball.
Hanging
Right,
curve.
yep.
Lenny went out with one hand, got fooled a little bit, but it wasn't out enough. And that started a whole sequence of things, 3 runs for us to tie it up.
Meanwhile, Leiter keeps buzzing. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mike Kelly, the left fielder.
There's a lot of right-hand hitters in this team that don't like the high fastball. They're not getting around on it. Uppercut swings, which you see more of. You see more, don't you, Tim, more low ball right-hand hitters?
Yep.
Than ever before?
I think so. 2-2 now to Smith.
I think it's one of the reasons why they do more of that now, right-hand batters on low pitches, is the lighter bat. They can get it through faster.
Were you a high ball hitter, Ralph?
I was basically a high ball hitter, but not when the ball was up in the letters. I took that pitch, even if it was a strike, until I got 2 strikes.
Kelly is jammed. And Edgardo Alfonso squeezes it. There are 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
I think
Leiter's nemesis of the afternoon is coming up, Mike DeFelice.
I think the most important thing in hitting, especially for a power hitter, is to be able to look for a pitch and go to 2 strikes. Get the pitch and not swing.
Okay.
I think the best I ever saw was Ted Williams at waiting for the pitch to hit that he wanted.
Well, that was the big criticism of Williams, was that he would, when he was the main man in the lineup, he would take the walk. He would not swing at the pitch that wasn't what he was looking for.
That is true. But he was so selective with his pitches that he finally got what he wanted, what he was looking for. Most hitters don't have the confidence to go to 2 strikes. And that's why you see so many first ball hitters.
But Ralph, if I hit 400, I wouldn't be afraid to go to 2 strikes.
So.
Last man to hit 400, batted .406 in 1941.
And didn't win the MVP.
Joe DiMaggio had a 46-game hitting streak and one time hit 72 out of 73 games did. But you know, after all the accolades of Ted Williams, what happens? He has a tunnel named after him. Somehow that's distorted.
He also has got a highway named after him.
Well, a highway's different. A tunnel? I mean, come on.
It's a long tunnel.
There goes the runner, and this is fouled off.
I went up there for the dedication of that tunnel.
I was just in San Diego and stayed at a resort up there, Rancho Bernardo, up in the northeast corner. And there was a highway running across, Ted Williams Parkway.
The highway is in San Diego County, and the tunnel is in Boston. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As a matter of fact, the Mets went through that tunnel after playing that series at Fenway. And they go down to Florida after this game this afternoon to play the Marlins in a 4-game set. We'll carry that game on Sunday. We'll be on the air at 4:30 The rare 4:35 starting time down in Florida because of the heat.
Just about the time the thunderstorms start to roll in.
This guy got a tip on a snowstorm or what? Yes. It's kind of hot out there, isn't it?
Fastball is high. The throw to second. Out at second base on a brilliant pickup by Carlos Baerga. The throw was low, but the runner was out. Still 2-1 Mets. Back after this from American Airlines.
And welcome back to Shea Stadium here in the bottom of the 6th. Mets leading 2-1. And we're going to show you the attempted steal and the great play by Carlos Baerga and the throw in the dirt from Mike Piazza. In between hop, never an easy play. Makes the tag. Hangs onto the ball. Beautiful. And there's the fans. Look at that. Reminds me when I was a kid, Tim, my dad taking me to Candlestick Park to watch all the good left-hand hitters over the third base dugout.
Your dad, John.
Yep.
I believe. Was that not his name?
Yep. Always took us to see the good left-hand hitters and had us got us spot seats over the third base dugout to watch left-hand hitters.
What about Shea Stadium?
Well, that was before my time.
Really?
Yeah, my dad actually played the Mission High School, played a championship high school game there in Shea Stadium. Shea Stadium was demolished when I was born in '53, but didn't get really interested in baseball until around the late '50s.
Carlos Baerga takes a fastball high. The last time up, Baerga hit the hard about a ball that you can hit. You can't hit it any harder. It hit the left foot of the pitcher, Rick White, bounced to the second baseman. Ledesma got a fielder's choice out of it. Here he pops it up. That's 8 in a row now, retired by Rick White. The Mets still with only 1 run in the ballgame.
And 1 hit.
Yep. Right. I said two runs and 1 hit. I beg your pardon.
We might have been a little bit harsh on Rick White. I mean, he had a horrific first inning, but since the second inning on, he has settled down and pretty much been in command. He had one other tough inning in the third when he got himself in trouble, but he pitched out of it.
Butch Husky, the batter. Butch on a fielder's choice. His last time up, runners on at first and third and 1 out. Butch failed to score. Mike Piazza. And he takes a breaking ball down. He walked with the bases loaded his first time up. That was RBI number 34 on the year for Husky. Breaking ball in there to make that 1-1. Slider is low. 2 balls and a strike. Of course, the San Francisco Giants will be moving to a new home. I believe it's going to be ready next year in the Marina. Either
sure.
Next year or 2000. I think it's next year. Hit hard to right field. This one's got a chance. Back. Gone. Home run. Butch Husky. 3-1 Mets.
Well, Butch finally got a pitch he was looking for after the 2 curveballs.
Nothing in 1 to Becker.
First 2 pitches were curveballs, and now the fastball all over the plate, and he is strong.
One and 1 to Rich Becker. You perhaps, you folks who are watching the game today, perhaps have seen those reactions from pitchers like that before. They don't want to see it. Looked to me like Rick White wanted to look, and then that head went back toward the plate. I think he knew it was out, and Husky hit it. 2 balls and a strike now to Becker.
He wanted to get the fastball away, but he got it up in the strike zone.
2-2 to Rich.
So I guess we kind of put the whammy on him. We said he was kind of settled down and gives up a long ball here.
Full count now to Becker. You mentioned it earlier, Keith. The home run ball has been the bugaboo of Rick White this year. Now 4 home runs in 14 innings. Popped up. Bobby Smith hauls it in foul territory. And with 2 outs, a reminder, folks, that today's game is brought to you by Michelob. Smooth, rich tasting Michelob. Beer or Michelob. Nice shot of what you'd see if you were out at the park today. It's just a glorious day to play. Very low humidity, about 75 degrees. Ray Ordonez, the batter. He's grounded out a couple of times, once to second, once to third. Strike 1 to Ray. 3-1 Mets. Butch Husky with his 8th home run of the year. Gives the Mets somewhat of a cushion, and the slider backs up, stays inside. 1-1 to Ordonez. Another grounder, this time to shortstop. So Ordonez is grounded to third, second, and short. But the Mets have a 3-1 lead after 6, thanks to Butch Husky. And we will be back after this from Napa. Bobby Valentine has employed a double switch as Brian McCray goes in to play center field. Rich Becker's out of the game. McCray will bat 9th, and Wendell will bat 7th. So Turk Wendell takes over for Al Leiter. Leiter was just brilliant today. Struck out 9 in 6 innings and held the Devil Rays to 1 run. Turk Wendell, as you see, 3-0 on the year. And the slider is in there to Mike DeFelice, who was the hitter when Randy Wynn make that. Paul Sorrento was caught trying to steal second base. High, 1-1 to DeFelice. Fouled away. Ball and 2 strikes. I was in Larry Rothschild, the manager of the Devil Rays office, guys, before the game today, and the reporters, the written media, were in there, and Larry made the point to say that last night, in last night's game, it was the first double switch in the history of the Devil Rays. Of course, you don't double switch in the American League, but obviously you do in the National League. Try not to let it handle you, but try to handle it. But Larry Rothschild checking his lineup card right now to make sure it is. You cannot be a push button manager and manage in the National League. It's that simple. A lot more difficult with the pitcher hitting. Fastball is high, 2-2 to DeFelice.
And that was all brought about because Dave Martinez got kicked out of the game.
Devil Rays winning that game 5-4. They trail here 3-1, and Wendell gets DeFelice on the slider.
Well, I guess Bobby felt that 117 pitches was enough for Al Leiter. He threw 117 pitches in 6 innings. That's an awful lot of pitches.
And Wendell wants to throw a few more warm-up pitches as the Devil Rays are going to have a pinch hitter, and it's going to be Dave Martinez. Ralph, you were talking about Martinez being ejected last night. Here he is, a pinch hitter.
veteran ball player, and arguing a strike that was called by the home plate umpire. He thought he had checked his swing, and he was arguing with Hirschbeck, Mark Hirschbeck, the umpire behind the home plate, and appealing to him to ask the third base umpire. But Hirschbeck said, no, I called it. And then he was kicked out.
Yeah, once they call it, they can't appeal. You can appeal before the call is made, but once a home plate umpire calls it a strike, you cannot ask for help if you're the hitter. They can't reverse the call, obviously. Well, this is a late call for Dave Martinez. It does not appear that Larry Rothschild had Dave ready in time.
We're going to have Wade Boggs pinch hitting for the pitcher, which is kind of surprising. We said earlier at the top of the show, Tim, that they are very deep in their left-handed bench today, which I would have figured that Dennis Cook would have been in the mix today, coming into middle relief to set it up to John Franco.
That's a very good point. You could bring in Cook in a situation like this to pitch to Martinez, or certainly with Boggs. And if you're going to use these two guys as pinch hitters, why wouldn't you use Boggs first? And then if he got on base, either use Martinez or Fred McGriff. They're trailing by 2, not 1. If Martinez gets on, you have the guy with the lesser power, and Boggs is the better.
You have 2 middlemen back there, too, in Brian Bohannon and Dennis Cook. If one gets in trouble, you can bring in the other, but that's the beauty of the game. It's all time to think about things. And
well, I think that's a very good point. I mean, you know, you do have, as you said, it's 3-0 now to Dave Martinez, but you do have all of your power, your punch, your better hitters from the left side on this ball club. There's a strike, 3-1 now to Martinez.
The beauty of the National League when you have to do all this with no DH.
That looked like a slider. Rick White will be out of there. Disastrous first inning, an inning in which he walked 5, giving up 2 runs. He'll be removed for a pinch hitter here in the top of the 7th inning with the Mets on top, 3-1. And the slider is low, so Martinez is on there, and that'll bring up Wade Boggs. And a nice hand for Boggs. I think the only other time Boggs played in this ballpark was the 1986 World Series.
I think you're right. Yes, that's right. American Leaguer his whole career.
Yeah.
Was he around when the? No, he wasn't around when the Yankees played here the one year.
74 and 5.
Right.
They played here. Yeah. Nothing in 1 to Wade Boggs. Martinez back in time. Boggs representing the potential tying run. Does have 4 home runs this year, batting .276.
That brings up the trivia question: who is the only Yankee manager to never win a game?
For Boggs. I think the only other time Boggs played in this ballpark was the 1986 World Series.
I think you're right. Yes, that's right. American Leaguer his whole career.
Yeah.
Was he around when the? No, he wasn't around when the Yankees played here the one year.
74 and 5.
Right.
They played here. Yeah. Nothing in 1 to Wade Boggs. Martinez back in time. Boggs representing the potential tying run. Does have 4 home runs this year, batting .276.
That brings up the trivia question: who is the only Yankee manager to never win a game as manager at Yankee Stadium?
Fly ball, left field, deep. Gilkey back, makes the play, 2 outs.
And the answer to that is Bill Verdon, who managed when they played here at Shea.
Well, if we get out of this inning, we've done one good thing. We've burned through 2 of their 3 left-handed pinch hitters. They've just got McGriff left.
Boggs flying out deep to left field. Randy Wynn will be the batter. Boy, look, I beg your pardon. Yeah, that's right. Switch hitter Randy Wynn, the right fielder. Good-looking player. And the slider is low, ball 1.
This is expansion for you. He's last season he split the season in A and AA ball, and next year he's in the big leagues.
Matter of fact, the Devil Rays do not have a AA franchise. They have loaned 5 players to a AA team of the Florida Marlins, Orlando. But they are lacking a AA franchise until next year. 2 balls and no strikes to Randy Wynn.
Their Class A affiliate is at Brevard County, and it says here on the old press guy, AA team. I guess he was outed to Portland.
Slider is low. 3-0 now to Win.
4 years and 3 years in the minor leagues is a lifetime minor league record where a batting average was .289 with over 100 stolen bases. So he's basically a leadoff guy.
Recalled by the Devil Rays on May the 11th from Durham, North Carolina. Here's a fastball for a strike. That's their AAA affiliate. 3-1 to Randy Wynn. Dave Martinez on at first. The Mets have a 2-run lead here in the 7th inning. There are 2 outs. Ball 4. Well, the problem here is on any gapper or any tweener, you do have speed in the trail runner. Now Dennis Cook is up and throwing.
Which I think Bobby Valentine has Paul Sorrento in mind there. Paul, if this inning closes out with Randy Wynn making the 3rd out, he will be the 3rd hitter next inning, and always the potential of pinch hitting Fred McGriff in a situation. So I think Bobby really wanted 1 inning out of Wendell. And probably Cook will come in the 8th, or if he gets in trouble, will come in the middle of the 8th, and then if you get to the 9th, it's John Franco time.
Well, Fred McGriff has his business partner. Never part with your bat. It's like a soldier with his rifle. 1 ball, no strikes to Ledesma. One and 1 to Ledesma. Slider lifted to right field. Should be an easy play for Husky. And it is. So Wendell pitches out of mild trouble here in the 7th. Still a 2-run Met lead. Back after this from Michelob. Bobby Smith has moved to shortstop. First of all, it's Wade Boggs there at 3rd. He stays in the ball game to bat 9th. Bobby Smith moves from 3rd to short. Shortstop Kevin Stocker, of course, is out of the game. And batting in his spot in the lineup is Esteban Yan, the new pitcher for the Devil Rays. Yan's numbers on the year, he has been that type of pitcher to swoop down and suck up a win for the American League Devil Rays. And keep in mind, it's much easier with the bullpen and working your bullpen in the American League because your pitcher doesn't have to hit. That's why you often see kind of distorted numbers in bullpenners in the American League.
Yes.
Dave Martinez also stays in the game and will play right field. So Martinez will hit 8th. Miguel Carlos at second base. So the pitcher Esteban Yan will bat second, not eighth. And the first pitch to Brian McCray. Speaking of changes, the double switch made the top of the seventh. And McCray leads it off, batting in the 9 position. Drill to right field, and is it fair? No. A long strike for Brian McCray, 1-1. High to Brian McCray. 2 balls and a strike. Three to 1 Mets. This one fouled back, 2-2. Here's a lineup for Bobby Valentine, but on the left, look at that chicken scratching. I'm not sure that everybody that's supposed to be moved has been moved on the left hand of your screen.
I'm just catching. That's like my scorecard. I'm just catching up.
Esteban Yan will hit second as McCray goes down on strikes. So to straighten that lineup club out, we're going to have Keith Hernandez read the disclaimer.
I love
Fire
this.
away, pal.
Okay, this copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is likewise prohibited. Okay, we got it.
Well, Keith, you did that about as well as your appearances on the TV was Seinfeld.
1-1 to Alfonso on the breaking ball high. 2 balls and a strike.
I did it with gusto.
Two and 2 now to Alfonso. The Mets win a game on Saturday up at Fenway. They win 1-0 when McCray faked coming in from third, and Tim Wakefield balked and win that game 1-0. In that game, they had 2 hits, and today they have 2 hits and a 2-run lead. Popped up, right side, near the camera well, and a nice catch by Paul Sorrento, the first baseman. Fine play by Sorrento. 2 outs here in the 7th.
Sorrento going over and reaching in. And nobody there to try for the ball. Tough break for Alfonso.
The Mets should know better than going back to Sorrento. 2 outs here in the 7th. 3-1 Met lead. That brings up Bernard Gilkey. 1-0.
You're not going to comment on that, Keith?
Actually, Tim's been talking so much I haven't paid attention to him for around 3 innings.
It's 1-1 to Gilkey. I see how this goes. Ralph gets on you and you get on me.
It's like a clubhouse.
It is.
Well, you probably don't know that there was a song about Sorrento, right?
Back to Sorrento? Yeah. You've never heard that song?
Well, you probably played it for me. I would recognize it.
Jimi Hendrix, Back to Sorrento.
Just his style.
3-1 to Gilkey. With Frank Sinatra's passing, I thought that was only appropriate. Got to get Francis Albert in here some way. Ooh. Full count now to Bernard Gilkey.
Well, you could drop Jerry Vale's name. He sang that song a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was a great baseball fan. He is a great baseball fan.
And Gilkey goes too far. So good job by Esteban Yan. And after 7, it's 3-1. Mets on top. Back after this with Mobile.
Hey, baseball fans, the subway stops at Shea Stadium this year as the New York Mets try to shut down their crosstown rivals, the New York Yankees.
Check out this T-shirt.
Now you can buy this commemorative Subway Series T-shirt through the special TV offer for just $25, and that includes postage and handling.
Can I keep this T-shirt?
Order your Subway Series T-shirt by calling 1-800-331-METS. Call now.
We're back here, top of the 8th. Mets up 3-1. The extra cushion run on Butch Husky's solo home run in the 6th inning. And now we have the left-hander in, Dennis Cook. As you see there, 2-2 on the year, with an ERA of 2.89, 11 walks, 17 Ks, 20 hits, and 18 2/3 innings. And what does that 0./2 mean there? I'm new to this. I never cared about pitchers.
No saves and 2 opportunities.
That's right. Okay. I'll get with it. I never pay attention to that. The only thing I ever pay attention to pitcher stats was innings pitched and the amount of walks he gave up. If they gave up over half a walks per innings pitched, like 20 innings, 10 walks or more, then I knew I can get a pitch to hit, and that guy's a little wild.
You're more inclined to take early in the count.
Right. That was the only statistic I ever looked at in pitchers.
One thing that bothered Bobby Valentine last week was that Dennis Cook pitched only 1 inning, actually 2/3 of an inning, over a 9-day period. Tough to keep your bullpenners sharp when your starters are doing so well and going deep into the game. The first pitch to Quentin McCracken, a strike, 0-1 to McCracken, who was 0 for 3 on the afternoon. One and 1 to McCracken. What a delightful young man Quentin McCracken is. He graduated from Duke. He played baseball and football there. Political science major. Wants to be a lawyer when his playing days are over. And also wants to be married at the Duke Chapel. He told me 2 years ago. I saw that.
Has he got a girlfriend?
Well,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's your hurry?
Well, he's got a lot of time. He can't get in.
That's right. There's a 2-year wait at the Duke Chapel. That's the problem. Well, you have to make your reservations early. You have to have a long engagement if you're going to get married at Duke.
That could be by design too.
The old Duke Chapel trick. 2-1 to McCracken. 3-1 to Quentin. Delightful guy, though. His mom taught elementary school for 28 years.
Pretty good player from Duke that played with me at Pittsburgh, Dick Groat.
3-2 to McCracken, an All-American basketball player, teammate of mine with the Cardinals, MVP in 1960 for the Pittsburgh Pirates, famous World Series. Maz's home run to end it.
My father loved Dick Groat. One of the guys we watched.
McCracken down on strikes. That is the 11th Devil Ray to go down on strikes today. So the fish are biting.
When he broke in, he came right off of Duke University and played in the major leagues. He broke in at the Polo Grounds and was 2 for 4 in his first game. And he was my roommate. And he asked the manager to have him moved away from being my roommate.
How is that?
Because he didn't want to answer the phone all the time.
Who was calling?
That's another question.
breaking ball for a strike, and you're getting on Keats about staying out late last night.
I didn't say I stayed out late.
The implication was certainly there as we look at our nobody beats the Wiz scoreboard.
Well, if you can't stay out late in New York, you can't stay out late anywhere.
That's true. Especially if you're playing night games.
And our Toyota American League scoreboard. 2 balls and 1 strike to Paul Sorrento. Well, those phone calls had to come on the road because Pittsburgh, I'll guarantee you.
They didn't have phones there then.
I tell you, that town's come a long way, but when I broke in the early 70s, boy, that was not fun.
One of the worst things was to play that doubleheader, 2-2 to Sorrento, play the doubleheader, and then have to go to Pittsburgh on a Sunday night. You couldn't even go to a restaurant.
Nothing open.
Nothing was open. 2-2, 1 out. We're in the 8th inning. Rubber game of 3. Mets on top 3-1. Al Leiter was terrific today, striking out 9 in 6 innings. Strike 3 call. 2 outs here in the 8th.
This is strikeout number 12 by the Met pitchers. Cook gets 2 in a row. Fastball and strike 3.
You had to be looking for a breaking ball there. It's a fastball on the outside corner, knee high. Did you ever look for a breaking ball, Ralph, with 2 strikes?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Bobby Smith, the batter, waves at the changeup.
So was it a breaking ball pitcher, or?
Yeah, well, the pattern of the pitcher and what he do, what he had done before, and definitely. One of the things I did, Keith, in hitting was I hit off the slider. In other words, it sort of set me in the middle. The slider not as fast as the fastball, but it kept me back.
Really, that's interesting.
1-2 now to Bobby Smith.
What I mean by that is I would look for the slider, and I still could get around in the fastball. But I was back in case it was a curve.
Okay. That's a right-hander to a right-hander, right?
Yeah, right.
High, ball 2, 2-2.
Always the left-handers looked fastball in area, and if I was looking outer 3/4 of the plate, then I could adjust to a breaking ball, but I was already set up. I'd lay off the inside strike.
Well, that's the key right there. You got to lay out the other pitches.
So that takes discipline, that takes time. And if you're looking in, then I would be able to handle the outer quarter of the plate in, but I'd have to take the outer quarter of the outside plate, part of the plate.
That's the science of hitting. You got to learn to take pitches that, even though they're strikes.
Change up, foul back, still 3-2 to Smith.
And the other thing I did when I was hitting was I never swung at changeups until 2 strikes.
Okay. See, I love the changeup. If a pitcher left it over the middle of the plate and up in the strike zone, boy, I just.
Well, you go the other way.
Well, actually, I would pull that ball later in my career.
You were set up to hit the ball the other way.
Right.
There's all kinds of styles. Depends on the guy at the plate.
Right. So which I know is think of one pitcher, left-handed and right-handed, Ralph, that you hated to face and why?
Yule Blackwell.
Okay, well, sidearmer. Okay.
He threw about 100 miles an hour, and he threw sidearm.
Left-handed.
Right-handed.
No, but left-handed. Who gave you trouble left-handed?
Kurt Simmons.
Dennis Cook is giving the Devil Rays all sorts of trouble. He struck out the side. The Mets 3 outs away from a win this afternoon. We'll be back right after this from Nissan. Mike Piazza, the batter, here in the 8th inning. He pops it up, and it is out of play. The first pitch was a ball to Mike, so it's 1-1 to Piazza. We talked about it earlier. That has been the pitch that has noticeably given Piazza all the problems. That pitch in on the hands. When he's run into a problem here with the Mets. Of course, all good hitters. We were talking about that before the game, Keith. All good hitters, you can pitch inside. You have to.
There we go.
But that happens occasionally, too, to keep you honest.
Well, I think that this is an up and in fastball. The key to learning how to look in is we're going to see the pitches, the last two pitches here. It's a fastball in. Catcher sets up in. He beats him inside. And he gets, obviously, his beat inside. Now he kind of opens up a little bit here and still kind of has to rush it through. When I learned to look in off a left-hand pitcher, the key was to have confidence in your bat speed, not to fly your front shoulder open. The key is to keep like you're going up the middle, but you're in anticipation of the pitch inside. If you open up, you're going to inside out. It's the key is to go the same approach, at least for me, and then let your bat speed take over.
You have to have a fast bat to do that, and Piazza does that. That was a good job of hitting. That pitch was really a good pitch. That was no mistake right there. He hit a tough pitch.
No balls and a strike to John Olerud. We're in the 8th inning. It's 3-1 New York. Changeup is a high strike. 0-2 to John. On the afternoon, Olerud has walked a couple of times and flied to center. He's 0 for 1.
This is another day for Piazza, 2 for 3, and hasn't got the big RBI day yet. He's in the middle of the inning.
Ground ball, right side and through. Piazza will stop at second base. Olerud has his first hit, and for the Mets, hit number 4.
Second baseman Carlos Mariaga.
Well, this is a left-hand hitter's delight with a runner on first base, and you want to get that. You can drive a Panzer division through that hole right there. Sinker away, which I always thought the pitch away was the easiest pitch to pull in that situation, because you can come over with your top hand and pull it right in the hole.
You're looking outside anyway.
I wanted the ball out there,
yeah.
And if it was not, if it was on the black, it was okay. The ground ball like that. If he got it over the outer half, you can drive it. You're just bringing your top hand over.
Carlos Baerga, the batter. It looks like the Devil Rays are looking for a bunt. I don't think they're going to get a bunt in this situation.
No way.
And he tried to bunt. I mean, why would you bunt in this situation with Husky up next, and then the pitcher you're going to walk Husky, then you're going to get a pinch hitter, Franco, and really Rothschild, it seems to me, should have a left and a right-hander up, knowing that Baerga's going to be bunting, but nobody is up for the Devil Rays as we speak.
Well, he's getting a left-hander up now, but that's too late. I mean, the horses are out of the barn here.
Hitting here, and it's 0-2. I just don't think you bunt with one of your better hitters with the bottom part of the lineup coming up.
Especially as hot as he has been, Baerga bringing his average up to 300.
There's Matt Rubel's up, the left-hander down there in the Tampa Bay bullpen. And now Sorrento has moved back all the way deep. And, you know, there's no guarantee that he's going to, I mean, I would have played back the whole time. If you want to bunt with Carlos Baerga, fine, I'll go ahead and bunt. I wouldn't play inside with Carlos pulling the ball the way he's been pulling.
Ground ball towards second. Could be 2. Nicely turned, and Sorrento staying on the bag. It was a high throw. Almost pulled him off the bag. But nicely turned by the Devil Rays. On the play, Piazza moves to third. There are 2 outs.
Well, they get the double play. And for those of you who are into baseball, say, well, they should have bunted.
I don't agree.
No, I don't either. I think you got to have him hit.
If they're into baseball, they wouldn't have said you should have bunted.
You don't bunt with, I don't think you bunt with your 3, 4, and 5 and 6 hitters. Those are your RBI men.
Let's give up.
And Carlos has been swinging the bat great for quite some time now.
Butch Husky homered his last time up. He's 0 for 1 this afternoon, and he takes a fastball high, 1-1. Matt Franco is in the on-deck circle, and that's why Matt Rubel, the left-hander, is warming for the Devil Rays. And it hit him. So Husky is hit by a pitch. I believe it hit him. He's not going to first. Did it hit the bat?
No, it didn't hit him.
Evidently it didn't. Butch went down like it hit him, and it hit the bat.
He got out of the way.
Didn't hit either. The 2-2 to Husky.
Tampa Bay pitchers have hit 39 batters so far this year. They're on their way to setting a record for batters hit in a season.
And Husky is down on strikes. So after that rush back, Husky strikes out, but it's 3-1 Mets after 8. Back after this from Chevrolet. Folks having fun at the ballpark this afternoon. A gorgeous day for baseball. 3-1 Mets as Mel Rojas is in there for Dennis Cook. What a job by Dennis Cook, striking out the side in the 8th inning. Turk Wendell did a good job retiring the Devil Rays in the 7th inning, and Al Leiter pitched 6 innings of 1-run baseball, striking out 9. So strong performances all around for the Mets this afternoon. Mel Rojas will try to save it for Al Leiter as Alberto Castillo is in the game now. Now, if this happens, and of course it won't happen unless the Mets blow a 2-run lead here, but this would be one of the rare situations where you would probably have Rojas batting in the 7-hole, because the 7-hole would hit in the bottom of the 9th inning, and have Castillo bat in the 3rd hole because Mike Piazza's out of there, and that's where Piazza was hitting. So you wouldn't double switch. This is almost a reverse double switch right here. Mike Kelly leads it off. Mike in the throes of an 0 for 20 June slump. He takes a fastball from Rojas that's high. Grounded foul, 1-1.
For the backup, we got Brad Klontz warming up in case there's trouble. He's ready.
John Franco worked in 2 innings last night, and it's doubtful that John will be called upon today, or less than 24 hours later. Low with the splitter, 2 balls and a strike. Strike 2, 2-2. Kelly turns around to question Bruce Fleming. He thought possibly that was high. A lot of umpires don't call that pitch that much anymore.
Absolutely. And this is the new generation of player here. He's a young guy, and he's grown up with that not being a strike.
The splitter gets Mike Kelly. That is the 14th Devil Ray to go down on strikes this afternoon. 1 away here in the 9th. Mike DeFelice, the Tampa Bay catcher, is the batter. He's had a good day. Triple, double, struck out. So Mike 2 for 3, and it's 0-1 to DeFelice. Good splitter right there. 0-2 now to the Devil Ray catcher.
You know, I think Bobby Valentine and Bob Apodaca have done a great job with as you see the 14 Ks today, the most by a pitching staff this season. But they've done a great job with Mel. He's had the great season with as a closer in Montreal. Goes over with big money to Chicago, and he has a horrible, dismal year. He's traded over here last year, and his confidence is down. They've nursed him in situations early in the season where in the beginning, where they weren't pressure situations, and they've gradually got his confidence and bringing him in more into closing situations. I think they've done a great job as far as getting him his confidence back.
He has pitched well this year. It's a ball and 2 strikes now to DeFelice. Splitter blocked by Castillo. Bobby Valentine has chosen his pitching coach well. I'll tell you that. Bob Apodaca, the more you hear him talk about pitching, the more you respect about his theories. Interesting comments with you before the game today.
Well, Bob, I think it's important to have a pitching coach that is an aggressive pitcher, but not a guy with great stuff, overpowering stuff, but also pitched aggressively, wasn't afraid to throw his fastball, even though Bob was a control pitcher and basically a breaking ball pitcher. He still knows the value of #1 being the best pitch, and #1 inside to keep hitters honest. So yes, I agree with you. It was a great choice.
Low, full count now to DeFelice. Bob Apodaca with Bobby Valentine when Bobby was the manager of the Norfolk Ball Club, the AAA affiliate of the Mets.
One thing that they emphasize is no walks.
First pitch strikes. The splitter back to Rojas. 3-2 splitter with a 2-run lead in the 9th inning. That's going to get a lot of hitters. 2 out.
That's a gutsy pitch right there.
I agree. It was particularly with McGriff and Boggs and Martinez and Boggs up next.
Right.
You don't want to walk and get the potential tying run to the plate.
And he got it in the strike zone, and that's the main thing. No walk.
It didn't break that much, but I think more of the off speed, the change of pace, fooled the hitter.
So Dave Martinez, the batter. Martinez walked as a pinch hitter his last time up, and he takes a strike on the outside corner. High, ball 1. Rojas has 1 save this year. John Franco with 13. As a matter of fact, Franco has all of the saves with the exception of that 1 that Rojas has. Hammered to right field. A former teammate of Rojas's, Dave Martinez. They were teammates up in Montreal. He gets a hit off the splitter, and here's Wade Boggs.
Well, I think that if Wade gets a base hit, we're going to see a pinch hitter for Randy Wynn. Well, actually, for Miguel Cairo, it'll be, excuse me, they made that switch.
Be all sorts of pinch hitters, pinch runners. We'll see a pinch runner for Wade Boggs also, but Boggs with a strike there, and as a pinch hitter his last time up, applied to left.
I guarantee you in the dugout right now, McGriff has a bat in his hands.
Low, ball 1, 1-1. I'll tell you, if you're going to guard a line in a situation right here, I don't think it's a bad idea to guard the third base line.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's okay.
You're absolutely right. I mean, he goes the other way. If anything, Olerud's playing fine right now. He's around 12 feet off the line.
Right.
The only ball Boggs is going to pull is the splitter, but I would definitely have Fonzie closer to the line.
Well, they're working him away, which he's more inclined to hit the ball the other way. Fans on their feet for a strikeout, but Boggs doesn't strike out that much. Line drive, base hit to right field. Boggs will have a double. Martinez will come in to score, but that's a moot run. It's a 3-2 ball game, but the big hit, a double by Wade Boggs. Hit number 2,841 for his career. Brother.
And he gets the split finger fastball and pulls it hard into the right field corner. That puts the time run at second base.
Lo and behold, Miguel Caro will be hitting for himself. The infield reminded now to play back in case a ball is hit. Can't make a play, knock it down. As a matter of fact, Keith, you know more about infield positioning, but Alfonso should be back right now, it seems to me. Why worry about a bunt in this situation? You play even with the bag. No sense of worried about a bunt.
You can start even and back up as the pitcher breaks from the belt.
But he's not doing that.
Right. With 2 strikes now, he should go way back. And on the infield now, of course, you got to knock the ball down and keep it in the infield. And you got Fred McGriff in the on-deck circle going to pinch hit for the pitcher.
It is 0-2 to Caro, and there's McGriff. 3-2 game. Boggs on at second base. 2 outs. Fly ball, right field. Should be an easy play for Husky, and this ball game's over. Mel Rojas with his second save of the year. Al Leiter now 7-3. Butch Husky with the insurance home run, and that did it. It's 3-2 Mets. Back after this from your Lincoln Mercury dealer.